Hey everyone, this is Eric, and I'm going to give you a quick getting started guide here for Karks CRM. Now, I did an earlier video tour of the plugin, but it's changed a lot since then, so I wanted to do something that was a little more fresh. So I'm going to start here by uploading a copy of the plugin, which you can get at GitHub, and hopefully at some point soon here at WordPress.org. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And I'm going to install it on my site. And this is just the local site that I've got here. And as we go through that process, we will activate the plugin. And once we activate it, you'll see the Karks CRM area here on the left side in the WordPress menu system. But then we also have it here on the example site. That a page called CRM is also included here. Now, you can do most of the same things on the front end that you can do on the back end. You can manage your customers, your invoices, change your company details, grab reports, and all that good stuff. But for our purposes here, we're going to talk about what it takes just to get going with the plugin. In this case, I'm going to work on the front end, and I'm going to just hit that I want to add a company here on the tools page. And you'll see we've got all kinds of details here for your contact information. You can add a logo, which will also appear on your PDF invoices and here in the front end area of the site. You can add invoice numbers, tax rates, currency symbols, a footer for your invoice that'll show up on the PDF, your accepted payment types, and payment links, which I think is kind of neat. You can go in and add links to like your PayPal URL, or if you have a payment form on your site already, you can link to that here, and that'll also show up as a button on your invoice. You can add a color PDF accent color here, which you can also do in the back end. It'll take a hex code here, but there is also a color picker on the back end within the WordPress admin. And an email invoice template, which is kind of nice because it will grab your client's first name and services and your invoice amounts and all that good stuff. We have merge tags that go find data from your invoice and from your customer data and plugs it right in here, and you can create a form email basically so that you don't have to fill that in every time. You can also send a BCC of the email to an address you choose. For example, I like to send a copy to myself just so that I know everything's sent. And let's switch over tabs here. We have a company here on the back end that I already created. This is just an example company. You can see we've already got our stuff figured out here. I've got an agency logo that I've added. My tax rate. I've already got some invoices in the system. It's just some basic stuff that I wanted to put in here. And again, this is all the same settings on the back end as the front end. So now that we've done that, now that we have a company, I can actually go into the front end here and see that I've got how many customers I've added and all that stuff. But from here on the dashboard, you can add a customer, add an invoice, add a service. If I add a customer, I'm going to show them as active or inactive. One of the cool things is about this plugin, you can actually show this as a job of another existing customer. So for example, if I have Riverside Dental Group here, and I can give it another name, another address, all this good stuff can go under Riverside Dental Group. But if we want to take a look at an existing customer, and I can show you one here that has a job, Blue Horizon Media, and again, these are all made up. We have our information for them. We also have one of the things I'm kind of excited about here is the Send Invoices To area. When we get to emailing invoices, which I will show you in a moment, you'll be able to put a name and email in here and any notes for the customer. You can actually send emails directly to the information that is in this Send Invoices To area. And if you don't have anything in there, it'll just go and default to this information up here. A jobs section, again, we can add multiple jobs. In this case, I have one for a downtown location, which would be, maybe it's a store that has, multiple locations, and I'm only working on one project for them right now. And then an invoices and payments tab, where it will tell you your current balance, how much money you've made from them this year, last year's revenue, if you have any, and then the lifetime revenue. Of course, all this depends on when you install the plugin and if you imported things that existed before you install the plugin. So, like for me, I put in my QuickBooks customers and services and some invoices for a couple years worth on my real install. Here, we just have a little bit of data, so we don't go far back yet. You can export your open balance as a PDF or as a CSV file, and you'll see that throughout the plugin. You can export and import things quite a bit. If we want to look at an invoice, we'll just go into this demo invoice, and you can see we did some SEO auditing work here, line items, and I can add other line items. These services are actually all already set in your site. When you install the plugin, you can add and remove services, which we'll show you in a minute. We'll just say we did some general hourly consulting, and maybe we did 2 hours of that instead of 1. And so it does the math for you. You can choose whether it's taxable or not. And then I'm going to hit update invoice, so that it's saved and it's got my new total here at $889. If I get a payment from these folks, I can also mark that here too. It will give me the amount that's still owed. It will give me a way to add different payment methods, which I've already put in my company profile, and a note, which could be like a check number or something else about it. And here you have the accepted payment options too. I also have that PayPal link from earlier, so that somebody could click on that and actually pay the invoice when I send it to them. If you want to see a preview of the invoice, we have that here. And this is just a basic HTML copy of what's here. So you can see in this particular invoice, $889 is what the total of the invoice is, but we're only owing, the balance due is only $589. Why is that? Well, because we already received a payment from these folks of $300. Maybe that was a deposit of some sort. So we don't have to worry about that. If we want to take a look at the PDF version of the invoice, you can see we've got all this information. It's partially paid. It will go in and again have that PayPal button here and who to make checks out to. And it has that payment received already in there as well. So you can take a look at that. It'll automatically download to your system. The cool thing is you can manually print that out and send it to a client via snail mail, or you can actually email it right here within the plugin. I have an email invoice button here, which I can click on, and it's got all my contact information already in there. So I've got my client's name, their email address. If I want to send a CC to someone else within that company, it'll tell me what other email addresses are on file for them, and I can hit that, and then I can create a subject, and my fields here have already populated. Obviously, we probably want to say something other than other for the invoice type, and I will actually show you how to do that too. Let's just change that. So we'll say it's for the month and year. Let's say it's for August 2026, and let me save that invoice. We'll update it. Then we'll go back down here to the email, and you will see that it changes the subject line for me. I'm adding that CC back in, and then it says, please find your attached invoice for August 2026, totaling $889. And you can actually go in and click in and add more text, whatever you want. This will automatically add the PDF as a attachment. So your invoice will be sent as a PDF that your client can archive for their purposes, and of course interact with and click that payment link to make sure you get paid. As I look at the services, again, I have some work done in here already, so you can add your new ones, import them from a CSV, and they'll give you an opportunity to map fields from where your CSV has and what the plugin uses. I can go in here and edit these things and have different descriptions and hourly rates. I can choose if it's a project-based fee, then I can leave it at 0 and just add whatever price I want to charge in the invoice, or I can give it a project-based flat rate there. But I also want to let you know that you can override these prices at any time within individual invoices. So we have services there. We'll go back to the invoices screen. You can see which ones you have open and which ones have been partially paid. You can also search for just a particular customer. So let's say I just want to see what Sunrise Bakery is up to. So I just type in Sun, and then we've got the 2 invoices from them. If I want to take a look at all of my invoices, including the ones that have been paid and voided, I can apply that, and you'll see those already here in the system. Our reports page will give me a look at the revenue for this year, or a different date range that I choose. I could choose last year. Nothing for 2025 in this particular spot. So we've got last 12 months here is just reflected here. And then a list of all the payments we had during that time range. We also have reports for aging invoices. So how much am I owed? How long how old are those invoices? And it's kind of cool that so you can kind of see like who owes you money and how long they've delayed paying you. So that's kind of a neat feature. And at some point, I'd like to add an alert mechanism here where maybe you get an email or it gives you an alert. So and so hasn't paid their invoice and it's 30 days overdue or something like that. Again, you can export it as a CSV. Going back to reports, we also have customer reports. So you can just choose one of these customers. We'll choose Harborview Realty here, and we can see what they've done, what invoices they've had, and how much they've paid and how much they still owe on their reports here. And again, you can choose a date range here, even like a custom range if you wanted to do that. On the tools page, one of the things I like about this plugin is that you can use multiple companies. If you have more than one company to do invoicing for, you can add a second company here. There's no limit to how many companies you can add, and they can have their own payment methods, own tax rates, own invoicing system, own logo, and all that good stuff. Even a PDF accent color, again, you can change that. So all of that stuff is right within here. I like it because, yeah, you don't have to pay anything extra if you have 2 or 3 or 4 companies. If you're a serial entrepreneur, everything can be right within one spot. Taking a quick look at the back end, like I said, most of the things that you're going to find on the back end and front end, you can do either way. A few functions are just reserved for the back end. Again, we have a getting started guide on how to do things here. Companies, again, we can take a look at the companies, all the customers, the services we have, the invoices. Invoice types is something that we have just on the back end. So I can set here different invoice types. So let's just say I have, because I'm a web designer, I have a web hosting invoice type, and you can create as many as you want in here. So you can call it web hosting, and then you can actually, that'll show up in the invoice itself and in the email of the type of invoice it is. So website maintenance, other, and you can actually choose anything custom as well within your invoices. The appearance menu is also only on the back end. This is our color selector. You can choose different colors to match your site's color scheme if you want to, or you can click this button and completely disable all the styles. We have a style guide on the GitHub repository. We have a wiki here that shows you all the CSS and what they're responsible for. So if you are the type that wants to go in and really customize the look of this, you can do that. You can turn off all the styles. It'll look ugly for a little bit until you add your custom CSS, but it's all there and ready for you to customize. Beyond that, a couple of things I would note is that because this sends emails through the WordPress email system, and thus through your web host, I would recommend using something like an SMTP server or a service like Mailgun or SendGrid to make sure that your emails actually do what they're supposed to do, get to their intended recipients, because a lot of times sending email through a website can be tricky. A lot of spam filters will knock those out, especially Gmail addresses. So set up an SMTP plugin, have a dedicated email address just for sending invoices, or use a service, like I said, a third-party mail delivery service. That'll help you a lot. And I also would not recommend adding any sort of payment info here. Like when you mark a payment on one of your invoices, don't store credit card numbers or customer account types or anything like that when you record a payment, because again, this is WordPress. You try to keep everything as secure as possible. I run this plugin against the WordPress.org plugin check system to make sure that we're sanitizing input and output correctly. But if somebody gets your password, of course, then they can go in and grab data. So you want to make sure that you're not storing anything too sensitive in here. And about that too, there is also if you have a staff member or maybe an accountant who wants to have access to this, they will either need to be an administrator on your site, or we have a custom user role called CRM manager who can only access the CRM stuff. That's all they can do. They can't access the back end of WordPress, any of those things, but they can access invoices and your customers and things like that to take care of all the billing details. So if you are interested in testing this out, let me know. You can check out the website here at karks-crm.com. That's karks-crm.com. I'll have it in the notes below, and you can test it out. Let me know what you think. If you run into any bugs, let me know. But I hope you find this useful, and we'll see you next time with another tutorial.